What are your experiences at EuRoC?
I've actually been to 2 years of EuRoC thus far. So I can actually give a background of how EuRoC 2021 was, and Jason can cover EuRoC 22. In EuRoC 2021, that was our first year, and it was the second year of the competition, I believe. And we went there taking a solid rocket, which was supposed to be the groundworks for our hybrid rockets. The idea was we'd design a whole rocket that can take all the loads of a hybrid rocket, and then we'd be able to launch it with solid motors and then retrofit a hybrid engine. However, unfortunately, when we got there, we discovered not only the quality of the teams at EuRoC, there was a huge step up compared to what we expected, because we were designing rockets almost like designing a very good amateur rocket. But whereas at EuRoC, you go ahead and see people designing like actual proper rockets, which is honestly mind-blowing there. But I feel that we still did a very good job, and it was crazily stressful. Like, we did some outrageous things that year. For example, we had to go and try and stiffen our body tubes. So I remember this. Late at night, we had our body tubes, and we were trying to stiffen them with fiberglass outside of the bungalows. And we've also had various experiences where we had to put a water bottle that was filled with sand in the nose cone of the rocket to serve as a ballast, in order to ensure our rocket was stable off the launch pad, since we were not allowed to use boosters that year due to the unreliability with simultaneous ignition. And it was amazing. We actually ended up launching off the pad miraculously, though unfortunately we didn't recover. But honestly, it was a great experience. And it was from going to that competition where we got to meet all of these top teams like EPFL, Delft, Bath, etc., that we were able to really go and start kickstarting as sort of the catalyst for further improving our rocketry designs in the recent years.
I think EuRoC 2021 got the whole team excited to do a lot better and to learn a lot more. So for EuRoC 2022, we developed a much more technically impressive rocket, and we even had the second place ranking in the technical report category for the rocket. It was a hybrid rocket engine powered rocket. So we used our hybrid rocket engine Hypnos, which produced 2 kilonewtons and powered by nitrous oxide and paraffin. And so we took that to EuRoC 2022 with a much more developed system. So our whole rocket was developed with being more impressive, being more looked after, and this jump in technical ability was recognized by both the judges and other teams, I think. So we had a much more impressive rocket to show in EuRoC 2022. It was also very stressful though, because we encountered very small bugs and small issues with the rocket, and we were fighting time because we're slightly late to assemble it and get flight approved. So the whole thing was a bit stressful, and everyone was working super extra hard once more. And unfortunately, we had two opportunities to launch, 2 launch windows. And one day we didn't manage to get it ready on time and fueled on the pad and launch it. So we had to scrap that launch. But in the second day, it was ready, fueled on the pad in the last launch window. But unfortunately, we didn't manage to launch it because of some software interference, some software bug that didn't send commands through, which meant that particularly the feed system of the rocket opened, but there was no ignition. So the rocket stayed in the pad. But both EuRoC 2021 and EuRoC 2022 were amazing learning opportunities. And judging from the progress of the team from EuRoC 2021 to EuRoC 2022 and now to EuRoC 2023, I'm incredibly impressed and proud of the team. So they're both incredibly valuable experiences, and we learned a whole lot. But and so we're gonna smash, I think, EuRoC 2023. What do you think, Jayden?
I'm looking forward to it more than anything. I feel like as the years have gone by, since I'm an old man in this team right now. This is my third year here. I have literally seen us growing so much more over the years. So at this stage, 2 years ago, we didn't even have a rocket built. We sort of just got the phenolic tubes. At this point last year, we sort of started prototyping, but it was still a mad rush. But here, this year, we've got our metal components. We've already started our whole composite manufacturing line. And honestly, I think it's going to be amazing.
What were the biggest challenges you faced during EuRoC 2023?
I can highlight some of the challenges we faced in airframe. That's because that was my specialty. Within airframe, one of the challenges we faced was the fact that we wanted to use pre-impregnated carbon fiber for our entire rocket. However, due to financial difficulties, this therefore made it impossible, and therefore we had to revert back to our wet laying up as the previous year. Except what we have done is we have gone and decided to use vacuum bagging with the parts, therefore improve its quality. Furthermore, we have been able to go and build on all the progress and experience we built from the previous year, which therefore allows us to build the composites faster, as well as also improve the overall quality of the composites themselves. Another challenge we faced was the fact that with our parachute, we wanted to initially reef our parachute. However, there was a lack of manpower, and a lot of the critical members for designing the parachute were ill for considerable amounts of time. This therefore meant that we couldn't design a complete reefing system. So therefore, we've developed part of reefing, and we'd like to go and carry on said research next year. But we'd have to go with our clamp band and drogue and main this year, unfortunately. But otherwise, it was just part of the learning experience, and a big part of being in a competitive rocket team is you have to make these hard decisions.
And I can also tell you a little bit about our propulsion team. So this year we aim to develop the liquid bipropellant rocket engine, which is incredibly hard. And we faced a lot of challenges during the developmental phase and during the testing phase, because it's been hard to get reliable components ready. So, for example, we've had issues with some components leaking, for example, some tanks leaking during tests, and us having to scrap them and design new tanks or order new tanks. We've had issues with ignition. We've had to solve how to ignite a rocket engine because there were some reliability issues in the start. We weren't able to get it to ignite. And there are also many design considerations that you learn while you're testing. So it's been a very challenging year developing such a difficult engine. But so far, as you might have seen, we've had a hot fire for a whole flight duration. So a full flight duration burn, which was extremely impressive. And we're on our way to finalizing the engine and getting it ready for full wet dress rehearsals, where we have integrated tests. And yeah, we'll be ready for Europe then.
Oh, yeah, but all of these challenges you overcome, it's almost like debugging for code. So if we find the issues now, it therefore means that we won't have these issues at EuRoC, which therefore increases the safety of our launch, as well as the reliability and probability of success at EuRoC. So we take it in our stride.
Would you like to join another competition apart from EuRoC?
So with this, the main competition which is most attractive is the SA Cup, but unfortunately, the SA Cup is timed to be around March, April, and the problem with, I believe March, April, right? And the problem with that is it's scheduled basically during the third year of their GDP deadlines and stuff, which therefore makes it very stressful for them, because they can't really fly off to the US with a full rocket ready during that time, since they've got their major deadlines and their course is literally the most important thing. Additionally, fourth year students have got their final year projects at the same time, so only first and second years would go, but that sort of means that you would lose out on a lot of the experience in the older years. However, we'd love to go, but just at this point in time, wherein there are such exorbitant costs to go and ship all the parts to the US and to launch the rocket, we feel that going to Europe, which is timed very well for us, and also allows us to interact with teams with, six-figure budgets, but just greatly overcome ours. It allows us to learn more because they're building state-of-the-art rockets and with really complex technical achievements in there, and we feel that going to EuRoC allows us to assimilate more information for now. But in the future, SA Cup, we feel will be a great way to go and launch something like a COTS space shuttle or something. But just not right now. Maybe 3-4 years in the future. But who knows what happens.
SA Cup is an amazing competition, and we would love to join it. But yeah, there are very many issues with logistics for our team members, and quite frankly, the cost of it for bringing many members would be quite insane, and it would have to be out of pocket for many members. So that definitely prohibits us. But it's always we're always looking for the next challenge. So if that is the next challenge that we have to do. For example, for a space shot COTS, then we go to SA Cup. But we see how our team progress goes and where our next goals lie.